Hello, this is Greg with Gamers with Coffee. This is just an update for you subscribers and for our Facebook group and our Facebook page on what's happening with our YouTube channel. There's a lot of confusion and things going on with YouTube and content creators, and here's why. So if you go to the Federal Trade Commission's website, which is in the public domain, type in YouTube, you're going to see that YouTube here under a settlement with the FTC. They had to pay $170 million for violating the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which is always referred to as COPA. That's been around a long time. The problem is here, if you go to look on and see that YouTube collected persistent identifiers such as cookies. They were used to track viewers and over time across websites. So what they did is they tracked children and geared advertising towards them. And they did this apparently knowing it violated the COPA rules. Now, as a parent, I am absolutely for keeping minors and children as safe as you can in the online world. The problem with this is YouTube and the FTC came together to work things out. So basically, YouTube got busted. They had to pay a huge fine. And in turn, they sent all of us creators an email. Inside that email, basically you had a choice to list it as for adults only. I never create content for kids. Well, that's an insane statement because, especially if you're doing video gaming. Now, well, most of them are going to be adults. Obviously, kids are interested in gaming. So the problem with this is if you go look at the requirements and all these things, it gets to be pretty crazy. So YouTube got in trouble. They're now passing that along. The FTC has another thing for YouTube channel owners. Just came out literally 2 days ago because I'm sure they were inundated because the fine is $42,000, 42 grand. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't have $42,000 because my video was misinterpreted because I uploaded it to a company that was targeting kids. See, here's the problem I have with all that. YouTube should not have done that. They were wrong. However, now content creators, because of YouTube's mistake, are going to be punished. And here's why. You guys have any kids or grandkids that watch those just, how can I say it, boring? I mean, literally bore you out of your mind, how to make slime and how to do this, and just terribly put together children's channels that are out there, but kids love it. Okay, they love this. My daughter's girls, they just love this stuff. They'll watch it for an hour. Well, that gave plenty of time for children to be, exposed to ads that they would like to get, that they could influence, parents to buy and so on. The kicker with that is you've got a lot of channels now whose content is kids. They're going to have to label as kids. Now, YouTube's put in some severe restrictions. So if you label it as children content, it's not searchable. Well, that does you no good, does it? Right? That'd be like saying, hey, any of these big box companies out there, imagine if YouTube couldn't advertise and they weren't searchable. Think that would hurt them a little? Sure. So look at these people who have built a large following, and their videos are getting millions of views at a time. I've watched them over the years go from some of these creators from barely getting by to very extravagant lifestyles, making a lot of money. Now, YouTube is going to take up to 90% or more of their income from that. So starting January 1st, I believe, they're going to go from the rich house to the poor house real quick. And people generally can't adapt to change like that. So that's severe. I mean, they have built their life. They put a lot of work into it. Now, that's a problem. Look at people like PewDiePie. I've watched him when he was a kid, and now he's an adult over the years. He's got tens of thousands of videos he's going to have to go through or have lawyers go through, or his content's looking at dropping catastrophically. So you've got people who are severely going to be impacted. Now, for our channel, we're not monetized. We just started it a little while ago. We have 84 videos, which probably doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you're creating them around work and stuff. However, some of them, I wasn't sure where does this fall. I mean, obviously, our audience is adults, but we do have games that kids will play, and I enjoy playing a game with the children too. So I can't do that unless it's labeled just as kids. If you do that, it can't be searched. Now, monetization aside, would I like to have a channel where it was making money to buy some games to review so I could kind of feed my hobby? Sure. Who wouldn't? I mean, right? But because I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on, I'm pulling all those videos so that I can go through them and redo them because YouTube gives you three options. One, identify it as you upload it, right? Well, that's bad because if it's AI or machine content, which it cannot reason and cannot make any deductions and simply goes off parameters, decides it's something it's not, then you're just banned. I mean, look at what's happened to a lot of people out there. This has been banned for no reason, literally, because we all trust AI and this stuff to do the job people should be doing. And that boils down to money, right? That why pay somebody when you can send out a program? But with that in place too, the propensity to be labeled wrongly and then fined is huge. Your other one was I create adult content and never, the word never, which is key to me in there, create anything for kids. Well, if you go over to the FTC, and like I've done, and I'm showing you here a little bit, and this one's for YouTube channels, um, if it appeals to kids, basically, if it appeals to kids, it can be wrong. And when you're thinking, oh, children under 13, you're thinking Myers. No, look, like most of them are middle school. So who of them are not going to be interested in a lot of stuff? For instance, us, if we do a video game, or do you think kids are interested in video games? So things like Warhammer and such, where they're tabletop miniature games, but you get to take the things out, you build them, you paint them, it becomes yours. You game with your friends. Do you think they'd be interested in building and painting and gaming? See, this is the problem. So I am not personally, nor are these other people, collecting any information off of children. If you look at this, okay, um, they basically YouTube used their IP address and cookies and targeted ads, and so they did this knowingly. But here's what gets you in trouble. Look at this. For example, think of a comment. You could be collecting information this way, you guys, like this. If on your site a kid says, "Hi, my name's Mary from Springfield. I love this video," boom, you are now collecting a child's personal information. That is a load of crap. And the reason is you didn't ask this person to post this. You didn't say, hey, in the comments below, please leave your personal information. Nope. This is somebody's own free will doing this, yet the government can come after you. Now, I'm not, here's my thing with the government. This is 50-50. Do I believe that some of the COPA stuff is good? Absolutely. It seriously needs definitions. It's this stuff where if it has animated characters, bright colors, who doesn't use vibrant colors when they're trying to advertise? Come on. You know, music, games, videos. So literally everything. Because children, by their very nature, they're curious about everything. If you're in do you remember when you were a kid? Weren't you curious? I mean, you grew up and you find out, oh man, got lied to about this, got lied to about that. But in the beginning, weren't you curious? You were curious. So that's the problem there. So, and just like anything that has to do with the government, then there's the other part of it, the money collection. We all know how that goes. So we are going to look for, you have such broad things. Look at this. So I make a video and somebody says, hey, I'm so and so, and I think your video is great. I love it. That's an awesome compliment. But then I could be fined $42,000 for collecting personal information. That's insanity. That's just insanity. So that is why the 84 videos I had, I took down. This video is obviously adult content. I mean, this is geared for adults out there. So in the meantime, I'm putting more effort into Facebook. And the reason is we have the Facebook channel over there. So we got our group, which is right about, I think we're one shy of 400 I'm doing this, one or two shy members. So you're more than welcome to join that. We have the Facebook page, which is where we're doing do live streaming and live videos. We're also going to do live shows. Podcast we do is on iHeartRadio. It's on Spotify. It's on Podbean. It's on TuneIn. So you can find our podcast anywhere. And also it's in Google Music, which is free, by the way. We're not charging for podcasts there. So we're going to do things like live call-ins. I've already got that set up. But that's it, you guys. I mean, I have a job. I work 5-6 days a week. Just like everybody else, it's very difficult to get by. And just to do this gaming channel, paying everything out of pocket, boy, it's a lot more expensive than you'd think. It is really difficult. The last thing I need is a $42,000 fine because somebody said, hey, that's a great video, but they happen to be under 13. Do you see where this is going? You look at creators like well, I'm sure all of you know like PewDiePie and them. I've watched that guy since he was a kid. You know, look at the tens of thousands of videos. He's going to have to pay enormous amounts of money to go back and pull them. And on top of that, you guys, if you're creating content, if you label it as a child, that's the other third option. It is immediately not searchable. Well, what good is that? You cannot have comments. Well, there goes your interaction, right, with your community, just because a minor may comment. But a minor is not supposed to have a YouTube account. Do you see what I'm saying? So your choices are you're going to identify it per video, which sounds okay, except for their AI is going to decide whether you're right or wrong. And then the government has such broad definitions, they can find you anyways. So basically, right now, if you're running on a YouTube channel, you're a huge liability. I think this is going to really hurt YouTube, honestly. There's a lot of people that are in shock. Their entire way of life is going to be drastically affected. I'm kind of betting most of them don't have backups, and they've been out of the job world long enough that it's going to be extremely difficult for them to readjust if they have to. So significant loss of income for those who have worked hard for it. And for those of us who are trying to create something, I almost wonder what's the point. Everything we do obviously is geared towards adults, but that's how it is. For instance, I'll throw another example around. So Legos. I was watching one of the Lego guys the other day. He made a point. Right, here's the thing. Legos were made for and sold to and directed at children, right? But do you know how many adults have Lego sets, vast Lego setups in an entire room? They collect these. So how is a guy who's making a living, having fun with Legos, which I think is cool, and but now he's going to lose his monetization. He's going to lose what he worked for or her, and that's the problem. YouTube needs to simply just not collect information from anybody they believe is a minor. It's just that simple. They need to make stringent things in their accounts. Maybe change your account to 16, improve that you're 16, like driver's license or something, so that these creators that built YouTube are going to take the brunt. And YouTube was really, really smart. When they first started, what did they do? Draw people in, create this content, I'm sorry, with the lure of easy money, big money. And a lot of these people were making easy, big money. And they are the ones that grew YouTube to where it's at. Now, YouTube just pulled the rug out from underneath them. On top of their banning of anybody that actually, well, there's a lot of channels that were actually showing things that were true and correct. Look at all those channels are gone now. See? So, and that's the other problem with YouTube is it seems like if your political ideas or just your freedom of speech is different than their mindset, you're done too. So this is the problem with YouTube. Let's be honest. You got to have freedom of expression. You got to have freedom of speech. The censorship is insane. These definitions on COPPA are so broad and so insane that they cannot be undone. Okay, um, it's it's just it's just crazy. It needs to not be that way. So until then, I don't know what else to say. Join us on Facebook group. Join us on our Facebook page. I've got to really look into this stuff before I post anything else to YouTube. There's no way that this is by any stretch of the imagination for children. Obviously, any anybody reading this, or I'm sorry, reading what I put on the screen or listening, kind of should figure that out. But I'm just doing this. So in the meantime, you guys, I just have to do a double take. I could go on and on and on. I'm just not going to bore you with all that. But I mean, again, look at this. Somebody comments on your video and you are accused of collecting a minor's information because of a comment you have no control over that you did not solicit. Yes, is all it is. All right. So come join us over there. By the way, on a completely little off subject, because we're a gaming group over there, I did, as the owner of that page and group, fire up a Minecraft realm on Xbox Live. There's a gamer tag there, gamers space W space coffee. Send the Xbox Live a gamer tag friend request. You can get on there and have some fun with the community. We're building a town. That's what gaming's about. So until this gets sorted out, we will have some videos. I hope you don't unsubscribe, but just we have to see what's going on. Thanks for listening, you guys. Have a good day.